The man pretended to eat an ice cream by the roadside, but his gaze secretly drifted to the girl's legs, and a malicious smile curled at the corner of his mouth. But as he smiled, his expression gradually darkened, as if he was plotting a deeper scheme. Then, he moved to the wealthy villa district. There, he finally found a pair of legs that better suited his preferences. But suddenly a man appeared, and he had to temporarily stop. In order to observe the girl more closely, he rented a room near the villa, with the window directly facing the mountain-top villa across from it. That place was remote and rarely visited by people, perfectly fitting his plan. Next, he bought a telescope. Then, he secretly broke into the villa and installed a listening device in the girl's room. From that day on, no matter where the girl went, she always felt as if there were eyes watching her from behind, giving her an inexplicable chill down her spine. Sometimes she would also receive strange messages. At first, she thought it was a little surprise prepared by her boyfriend, and she felt somewhat secretly pleased. But until this day, she couldn't help but ask her boyfriend. She told him not to write those notes for her anymore. Her boyfriend looked puzzled. He had never written them at all. However, a few days later, the police retrieved a male corpse from the sea. The victim's skin had been burned, making it impossible to extract fingerprints, and his face had been repeatedly struck, rendering his features unrecognizable. Even more bizarrely, no seawater or sand was found in the victim's stomach. This movie is hailed as the most thrilling suspense film in recent years. The protagonist does not have a single line of dialogue throughout the entire film, yet he moves countless audiences with only his expressions and body language. Today, we take you into this film, full of high-energy twists and turns. Only after watching it will you truly understand. The best hunters often appear in the guise of prey. The man is named Wang Yuan, and on this day, he had just been released from prison after serving his sentence. But you probably wouldn't imagine that he was once a top student. But 20 years ago, he was imprisoned for rape and murder. During his imprisonment, he attempted suicide with a pencil but failed, and as a result, he became mute. Due to the crimes he committed, he was often bullied by his fellow inmates. In order to change his situation, he exercised desperately, building his body to be as strong as steel. He kept to himself and never communicated with others. He was accustomed to being alone and never interacting with people, until one day, he challenged the prison bully. Relying on his ferocity, he not only did not lose, but also severely injured all of them. From then on, no one dared to provoke him. 20 years later, Wang Yuan was released from prison, and the social welfare department found him a job at a music store, hoping he would turn over a new leaf. But there was always an unresolved knot in his heart, the girl who died back then. That night, he went to the bustling city area, his gaze wandering over the passing girls, as if only this could fill the void in his heart. After a moment of silence, an evil thought quietly arose. While looking for a place to live, a billboard caught his attention. It featured the famous musician Su Hanlin. He seemed to remember something, smashed the billboard, and tore down the poster, as if he had a deep-seated hatred for the other person. The next day, when he went to work at the music store, he was attracted by a pleasant piano sound. Following the sound to a partition, he saw a beautiful girl playing the piano, confident and elegant, and the girl's appearance was strikingly similar to that of the girl who died years ago. But as he watched, he inexplicably began to cry. Why did he do that? At that moment, the girl's phone rang. She glanced at it, looked panicked, and hurriedly left the piano room. Wang Yuan quietly followed her out. He saw the girl being scolded by a middle-aged man. That man was precisely the musician Su Hanlin, and the girl was his daughter, Xiao Shui. Upon seeing a boy smile at Xiao Shui, the father immediately dragged her away. After the father and daughter walked away, Wang Yuan secretly followed them until they reached a villa. The father was extremely strict with Xiao Shui, not allowing her to have any contact with the opposite sex. Even a boy smiling at her would lead to reprimands. His desire for control was extremely strong, with an almost pathological possessiveness towards Xiao Shui. And under her father's violence and control, Xiao Shui lived very suppressed, but could only endure silently. On the other hand, Wang Yuan rented a house and constantly monitored the villa's activities. Until one evening, while Xiao Shui was playing the piano in her room, the phone suddenly rang, and the father immediately became alert. He thought that Xiao Shui had given the phone number to someone else. Just like that, the father scolded his daughter without distinguishing right from wrong. Everything that happened in the villa was seen by Wang Yuan. His breathing became rapid, as if he was extremely angry. However, that very night, a mysterious figure appeared by the seaside. He dragged a trash can up onto the rocks, and inside was actually a corpse. After some processing, he pushed the corpse into the sea. He thought everything was seamless, but the next day, the police arrived at the scene. This originally remote and rarely visited place was accidentally discovered by a fisherman. Strangely, the forensic examiner finds no seawater or sand in the deceased's stomach. This indicates that the primary crime scene is not in the sea, but somewhere else. Then the forensic examiner finds a button in the deceased's mouth, which might belong to the murderer. Afterwards, they reconstruct the deceased's appearance through skull tissue, and he turns out to be the famous musician Su Hanlin, Xiao Shui's father. Soon, the police arrive at the hilltop villa to question the deceased's family members. According to the deceased's wife, she and her daughter were at home at the time of the incident, but old Lin notices that her expression is evasive, as if she is hiding something. He asks her some questions, but his gaze is observing Xiao Shui's reactions to judge the truth of her words. After a few questions, old Lin knows they are lying, but he does not expose them. He uses the pretext of a turd to enter Xiao Shui's room. Her father has just died tragically, yet there is not a trace of sadness in the daughter's eyes. Therefore, this deepens his suspicion. Returning to the police station, he immediately gathers his subordinates to investigate everyone related to the Su family. Very soon, they make a major discovery. discovery. Many years ago, Su Hanlin had a daughter named Su Yun, who looked exactly like Xia Xue, but she died 20 years ago, and the murderer who killed her was Wang Yuan from back then. Now he has just been released from prison for a few days, and Su Hanlin is killed, which makes people suspicious. Old Lin reviews the old case files and develops a strong interest in Wang Yuan. As a seasoned detective, he keenly senses that this case is related to Wang Yuan. The next day, Xia Xue receives a phone call. The other party does not speak, only noise. She thinks it is a prank, but does not know it is Wang Yuan on the other end. On the other hand, Old Lin finds the old case files. At that time, Yun was only 18 years old, and a 19-year-old perverted young man stalked her every day. Until one night, the young man took advantage of her family being away, climbed over the wall to intrude with ill intentions. The girl resisted desperately, and was ultimately beaten to death. But strangely, the girl from back then looks too much like Xu Xue. To clarify the reason, Old Lin finds Xu Xue and asks her if she has an older sister, but she knows nothing about it. Although the two cases may not be related, Old Lin still warns her to be careful and leaves his contact information, telling her to contact him if anything happens. Xu Xue wants to say something but hesitates, unaware that a pair of eyes is watching all of this from afar. Actually, Old Lin has had doubts early on, because a normal girl would be scared upon hearing about a murder case. But there is only confusion in Xia Xue's eyes, so he is convinced that the two cases are related. Just then, a piece of glass falls from the sky. Several people look up and discover that the person upstairs is Wang Yuan. The police immediately go upstairs to chase and capture him, but he seems to have no intention of escaping, always staying within the police's sight, yet keeping a safe distance. Policewoman Aang suddenly stops. In front of her is the men's restroom, and she suspects he is hiding inside.